Alright, and I'm back. So let's deal with this issue of colorism, since people tend to act like they do not understand. Okay? The biblical narrative says, I will visit the sins of your fathers to the third and fourth generation. Okay? Now, I'll be the first, because people are acting as though there is not a difference between the lighter complected black, right, or the caramel skinned black, the Hispanics, we'll say brown, right, the Hispanics brown, right, and then those who are actually of white and black coupling, a white woman or man with a black woman or man. Okay, we're all just being clumped up together as though we're all the same thing. Okay, and I get it, but listen here, I'll be the first. Let's go with my grandma. Now, a lot of my family is dark skinned, right? And when I take my grandma from my father's side, she was very, very light skinned, right? And let's say it's an issue of maybe her mom had been raped by a black man. Okay? Let's just say it. Now, that would make my grandma have been a mixed race. Yes? Now, when she decided to go back, turn back towards the Afro-Negro-American, or the black skin, dark skin race, right? Now she's creating, on that side, the first generation, right? So she would represent the first generation, or the first of the sin of your fathers that's supposed to be visited to the third and fourth generation, right? Now, the white man raped, now there's down to the third generation, they would have to pay for the sin of that white man, right? Or that something would happen, okay? Because she went towards the black, dark skin race, my dad then became the first generation of the dark skin race, right? Not carrying the sin of the white man, okay? So it's not supposed to be passed down to that. And then when my dad also involved himself with dark-skinned people, right, that created a second generation within the dark-skinned or Afro-Negro-American race, right, who doesn't have to hold the sin of the father. Now, let's say my grandma would have dated or married or had kids with someone white, right? That's further moving or progressing the so-called white race, right? That would have been the first generation of the sin of the white man who perhaps raped, okay? Now, let's say my dad would have married someone white and had kids with him, right? That would have been the second generation. And then if that child would have had children with another white person, that would have been the third generation whom the sin would have been visited upon. But instead, because white supremacy wants to hate melanin, here's the question. If I'm only the second generation, right, and you guys want to make it be a matter of colorism, because I'm lighter than the rest, a large amount of my family who are dark skinned, okay? If I'm only the second generation, how is it that my dad has paid for the sin, I had to pay for the sin, and my sons paid for the sin? We're talking spiritual stuff right now, right? Because that means everybody paid for this white man raping someone black and then producing a melanin child, right? And everyone has to pay for his mistake, or that's what you're going to call a mistake, for his doings, okay? Now, the point that I'm trying to get to, because the biblical narrative has always had a problem with math, right? That's where they say the math ain't mathin'. Because you say Jesus died on a Friday. He was in there 3 days and rose early Sunday morning. Right? Let me break it down, because even the biblical narrative talks about there's 12 hours in the day, 12 hours at night. So let's say he went Friday morning sometime. That's the first day. Okay? And we're just dealing with days, the first 12 hours. And then he spent all day Saturday in the grave. All day Sunday would not be early Sunday morning. Right? If we're just breaking it down based on days. Okay? So, there's a biblical narrative that talks about sin would be remembered, or people will look at it again from the third and fourth generation. I'm trying to get your math on how I'm the second generation. Why me and my brother been put through shit? Right? And then how come it's on to the Afro-Negro